basically, you just take your tree to start with and look for a plane, okay? And realize that you're going to have something to tie it to. So something, if I've got nice branches going this way, I might have a nice branch that I want to work with heading out this way. Don't forget, you can pull it back and tie it, okay? Like this branch can be pulled back and tied. If I want a plane here like this, and this is out of plane, right? This one, I can pull it back and tie it, okay? Let's use this as our plane right here, okay? We do have a lot of nice branches that we work with there. So I'm gonna alternate my pieces coming off. I don't want too many coming off at one point, okay? First, I'll just get rid of what I'm clearly not gonna work with. Plane, plane, plane. Don't need that. So I'm working on this plane going away from me, okay? I'm gonna eliminate. Okay, so I'll get this back down for a second. Okay, so my height, my overall height, I'm going to do a height reduction now and say that I'll make this cut right here. Okay, there's my height reduction, right? But let's pretend that I didn't have these two branches right here, okay? So I'm going to remove them. Now I'm trying to create a plane in here of espalier. I pulled those off on purpose so that we can see how to use this branch to come back around, okay? I'm cutting to lateral buds that will become branches. I don't want to do a real hard cut back and have no second year wood, but look what time I'm pruning right now. I still have time to generate wood right now. These cuts I'm making, removing the apical meristem, are going to create some growth. Some new growth, and that will harden off and be second year wood for next year. It will be fruiting wood for next year potentially. I'm trying to, so you try to develop as much second year wood you can on things like peaches, cherries, things that fruit on older wood, okay? Like my cherries up at the house, up at our house, I cut them back real hard. I did big reduction on them because I didn't prune last year. It got away from me. We were busy with some other things, and they were too tall. And so I wanted to get them reduced and get them down. And so I made hard cuts. Well, I got hardly any fruit this year, right? I knew that when I did it, though. That was the cost. But next year, now I've gone back and taken all that vigorous growth, and I'm trying to set shorter spurring wood that we'll have more cherries we could even think of eating next year, okay? So part of that's going to have to do, like this is a plum, and that's not true of a plum. You know, you get fruit on first year wood. Blackberries are like that. Most blackberries, most of your older varieties, you need last year's new canes are what are going to fruit this next year. So I can prune any time of the year I want too. That's a misnomer that, oh, I have to prune in the winter, I have to prune in the fall, or I can prune any time of the year I want, okay? Okay, so you can kind of see how this can be tied up then, and these branches can all be worked. And I'll take this top piece off here, and we'll take that out, and we'll work with that. Okay, so that right there will turn into an espalier with some training and tying, and this branch will come down. Probably I'll actually make this cut. So all these are going to tie down and move sideways, right? And I'm going to keep working what I want along until I get to the end of what I'm going to call my espalier rack. Okay, so these are Japanese white pines. So let's shift gears now to something that's not deciduous, something that's to conifers, okay? Same rules apply, right? Apical dominance and all that, right? But different types of growth. I mean, they're a different genus. They fit into a different family, right? So some things I want you to notice here. One is, Do you notice the growth? Do you see a central leader on this growing straight up? This is called Fukuzumi. And Fukuzumi's characteristic is they have a natural windswept growth habit. They're very easy to train into that. And I could shoot myself. I took a photograph of a big one that I have that's about 13 feet long. It's in a big pot that it's probably about 16 years old. That would show what this would look like 16 years from now, and it's phenomenal. It's a $10,000 tree, right? It's just big wide base on it that just kind of climbs and leans to a point out far away. It's perfectly imperfect. If I just don't ever touch this tree would have a characteristic of this. But if I want to make it perfectly imperfect, which is probably not to touch it, I'm going to take a look at some principles I'm going to teach you. Okay, so I make a decision early on right now. Do I want this? Do I want a double competing leader? In my world of symmetry and what I know this plant can become, I don't want a double leader like this. Okay, so let's say I don't want a double leader. There's a season's growth to a new set of what is called whorls. Okay, look on this one. See that? That's a season's growth from that. These whorls, where there's all these little buds here, will become branches. See, there's a whorl of branches. I come up here, there's another whorl of branches, okay? That's a year. That's how that works, okay? Look, here's my newest growth, and I've got a whorl developing right up here on this, okay? Now, do you see the distance? Some growth years, depending on the weather, in conifers will put off this really elongated space between whorls. And you can see how it has a tendency to be kind of gawky looking. And you know, even when this sets up here and these grow out, I have this kind of empty space in here. So on some conifers, the same year that this was developed, you know, we might see that kind of a distance between whorls. And it just leaves that, you've all seen it, right? It's kind of that thin, it leaves that kind of, you know, look at the bottom of this tree, how much more dense and lush it looks, or the bottom of this. And when you start getting these elongated seasons growth, it gets necky and not so good. So you can, at any time you want, you can remove that, right? So let's go back to here. So here I have this seasons of growth, right? Well, one thing I can do to slow this down and take the dominance out, I've got a season here and I've got another season back here. I can come right back into here and take that dominance out of it, okay? I'm gonna take, this is potentially a new leader, right? I'm gonna cut that in half. Why it's soft, okay? I'll get more popping sideways on that, okay? Look, here's another one popping up at me. I'll hit that. Why it's still soft growth right now. Here's another one popping on me. I'm gonna hit that in half, right? Here's one. I'm gonna take all of these, and there's a whole whorl of branches. Now, when I do that to that, there's a whole whorl right underneath it that can pop and come out and be like a whole nother season's growth. Okay, so I just created more density here, right? If I'm encouraging this growth pattern that's heading out here, I'm gonna take at this end whorl here, I'm gonna say, I don't have to keep living with this leader. I can choose, I can do a partial removal of that. It's still soft. I can get another whorl to pop here, and I could choose some dominance here if I wanted. But I actually like that. So what I'm gonna do is, I want more density in here, so I'm gonna take and just pinch the buds here. I'll do this still soft, and so I'll get whorls that come out from that, right? Take that.
Top heavy this way and bother the trunk.
Asymmetrical balance will, one of the reasons I made the cuts back here is because what will happen to this long term is this, see how it always is staying narrower at the end? So I wish I could show you the picture they had, but what we're doing is this, remember I took what was a competing leader over here out, right? I'm sending it out this way. So we'll see this climbing this direction, but we're gonna put weight on back in here back low. So that's this, so wide at the bottom, and it balances this long, narrow growth out at the end. Okay, that's that asymmetrical, perfectly imperfect.